Hello, dear ones. This is your August 1st super full moon update. This is the brightest full moon of the year, and we have two this month, the second one being a blue moon on August 30th, a powerful month, coupled with a Venus retrograde, but this full moon is a powerful opportunity to get grounded, really connect with your intuition, align with your healthy boundaries, and heal your relationship issues that are arising with this Venus retrograde. You may be feeling sensitive, maybe anticipating something new, nostalgic, maybe even very emotional. I don't know. It's been really nostalgic for me so far. And it really awakens your intuition and ability to listen to your heart instead of all the noise around you, instead of all the others around you, so that you can really balance yourself, a foot in the physical, a foot in the spiritual world. Because the Venus retrograde going on, we have all this relationship stuff coming up that's up for healing. This full moon can make things come together very quickly. It can bring things into fruition, and it can give you the grounded structure and power you need to be able to blast through, really break free, so that you can have more harmonious heart, more harmonious relationships. Hi, I'm Prema Gurreri, and welcome to Chart Your Path. I'm so glad that you are here. If you haven't subscribed, I appreciate you subscribe, sharing, liking this. If you don't know what your Vedic Ascendant is or your Vedic Astrology Moon is, then you'll want to click the link in the description below for the chart calculator on my website, solutionary.com, and then you'll be able to follow this along and know your chart a little bit better. And we will have a full moon healing circle on August 1st, and the link below will get you there. And we're going to be really working with our healing these relationship issues that are coming up with the Venus retrograde, bringing things into fruition, really bringing in our healthy boundaries. It's going to be very, very powerful. The super full moon on August 1st at 15 degrees of Capricorn in Vedic astrology, the sidereal zodiac, is very grounded. It's committed. It's hardworking. It's Capricorn. And it's really where we face and develop our emotional and our healthy boundaries. And it's important to have healthy boundaries to have healthy relationships. And this gives us the ability to really be able to see what we need to see in order to break through and create what we want to manifest. It's the natural 10th house of the zodiac. So that also means your work. It means your career, your wealth. It's a wealth placement as well. But Capricorn means something unique for you depending on your chart. So it's all of these things, and it's directly across the zodiac from Cancer. Cancer is where we have the new moon, and in fact we'll have another new moon in Cancer again in the middle of the month. Another update I'll be doing at that time. So Saturn is retrograde during this time, and Saturn rules Capricorn. It's retrograde in Aquarius, very strong, picking up speed. So it's really going to support us here. And combined with the Venus retrograde, lots is coming up from the past. In fact, Mercury is going to go retrograde, and so is Jupiter. I'll talk about all of that in my August update, so stay tuned for that. So this really gives us the ability to, as these things come up from the past, it's not about reliving them. It's really about awareness and what's up for healing so that we can really transform and transcend. It's not about continuing to go around and around on the hamster wheel again and again and again with the same things. If that's the case, we have a pattern, we have a program, limiting beliefs going on, driven by patterns and programs, and they're up for breaking through. That's why I hold the healing circles every full moon. So you have a choice. You can break free wherever you're feeling challenged in that way. And this full moon has the ability to bring things into fruition quickly. So we want to set our intentions. We want to use the power, the light. Remember, the moon rules our consciousness, rules our mind. So that's why the mind fluctuates quite a bit, but the deeper sense of our consciousness is the ability to really perceive, and this full moon gives us the ability to do that. You see, Shravana is the part of the sky, the lunar mansion, the nakshatra that this is in, and Shravana is ruled by the ear. and it is called the star of listening. And it's really about listening deep within, listening, yes, to our intuition, listening to the truth of the universe that's resonating like this sound, that went like the sound of Om. When we can just get quiet enough and hear that, instead of listening to all the noise coming at us. There are messages from beyond that want to drop in for you. So you want to be able to tap in and sense and feel beyond what you are hearing around you, beyond everyone around you. This is communication, and language is more than words. This gives us the ability to tap in to communication beyond the words that we're actually hearing. You know, body language, there's a lot of different senses of language. Well, this is much deeper than that. Shruti is the word this comes from, and Shruti means that which is heard. And you know how like you could play that game telephone and whisper something in someone's ear, and by the time it comes around the circle, you're like, whoa, I didn't say that. Well, that which is heard can be very different than that which is said. But if we get quiet enough, we can hear the truth of what is to come through. It's like reading between, gives us the ability to sort of read between the lines of what the information we're getting from beyond and the information that's coming through others, not just the noise. So it's important to take the time to really drop in and listen with this full moon. And you need to do that by getting quiet, by meditation. Pull away from people. But if you are also listening to people, take a step back, stop talking, and stop the ticker tape of your mind that wants to react to what they're saying, and take a step back. It's exactly the stuff we'll be working on in the Healing Circle. Take a step back and listen to what's really being said. This is ruled by Lord Vishnu, the preserver of the universe, and it coincides with the festival of Samhain, which is celebrated by Lord Shiva, the great awakener, who has the ability to destroy and release us from our attachments. And Venus has a lot to do with our attachments, so our attachments are really coming up. This is also the star of the goddess Saraswati. So Shravana has the power to also link people together, to connect them. It is the great organizer, and that is ruled by Capricorn. But the great connector, Venus retrograde, the connector, very appropriate here. So this is said that Shravana has the ability to put people on their rightful path or their destiny. So you must listen deeply, have a better understanding of what's actually happening around you and within you. So both the inner dialogue and the outer dialogue. Okay? So with the Venus retrograde, it's very much about waking up to our attachments, to discerning which are serving us and which are not serving us. You have, I'm very attached to my family in a lot of ways, to my home, to caring for my garden. I love to eat the food in my garden. And these are good things to be attached to. So that I lovingly care for them. But there's things that we are attached to that aren't serving us anymore. And that attachment is holding something in place that if we can loosen up our attachment, then that which we're attached to has room to grow, and so do we. Loosening your attachments or letting go of them doesn't always mean letting go of the person or letting go of the situation or the thing. It means allowing it to have more of a life of its own. Letting the divine in is really what it's about. So we have to have these. In order to have healthy attachments, we have to have healthy emotional boundaries. And this full moon helps us to do this so much. This is the full moon. The great nurturer is the ruler of the full moon, which is, brings up all this deep emotional energy. Now, Venus, which again is the great connector and the goddess of love and relationships. And Venus is going to be retrograde until about September 5th, and then it'll go direct. So right now, with it's moving from Leo to Cancer. And let's remember what Venus is all about. It is around our love and our relationships and our heart, but it's finances and beauty and the arts, even luxury. It's our security. It's our pleasure. What truly brings you pleasure? When's the last time you really thought about that? What brings you joy? What brings you pleasure? Or maybe you thought about it, but when's the last time you really sat with that and made that a priority, or were willing to feel the joy that you were actually experiencing? So when Venus is retrograde, it goes behind the sun. It shifts from the evening star to the morning star. It's a very different energy, and it'll be in Gandanta. It'll be in Ashlesha, moving from Leo to Cancer on August 7th. And that's kind of an unnerving, disorienting, vulnerable period of time, but you can set your intentions with this full moon, and you can really get aligned with the full moon and make the breakthrough that you need to make, so that time is much easier. Again, we're taking a step back so we can notice where we need to make our shifts around relationships. And the principle of flow and form is something I talk about a lot in my work and teach in my groups and my clients. Flow being that more feminine energy, that's more the Venus, and form being more the structured energy, that's more Saturn, more the organizer, and that form is more the boundaries. And we have an opportunity to work on that. And that boundaries form gives us the opportunity to be able to flow and have really intentional riverbanks on how we're flowing our energy. So we'll be working on all of this in the full moon healing circle, and really knowing what our desires are versus what our needs are is a lot of the energy coming up here. So if you're feeling challenged in relationships, or just vulnerable and confused, old issues are arising in the relationship, or just about you, or you think it's about them, but what you can shift and change is about you. It's all up for healing. That's what it's up for. It's up for shifting. And if you think you already healed that and it's up again, it's just, we got to go deeper. We're peeling the onion here. So I want you to be compassionate with yourself, compassionate with others, but it is time to make the shift. So stay open-minded, and more so open-hearted. And you want to relax your rigidity on things have to be a certain way and let them transform during this period of time. It's not a great time to make big decisions about relationship. Let's wait till Venus goes direct, and then you'll be able to have the clarity. Let's do the healing work during the retrograde. So you can allow this, whatever's coming to the surface, just knowing that it's up for shift, it's up for healing, and what can I do about that? So with this full moon, it really opens this amazing portal for bringing clearing and cleansing and purification to our communication, how we hear, how we listen. Our throat chakras we're going to be working on in the healing circle, so that you can hear your fourth chakra, your heart, and that you can communicate clearly through your fifth chakra, so that you can really be trusting that pathway between your heart and what you also are communicating, but also what you're perceiving from the inside out. So I'd love to have you join me on August 1st for the virtual Full Moon Sacred Healing Circle. I send the recording to everybody who registers, so no worries if you can't make it at the exact time. It'll be at 5 p.m. on the 1st. I'll do another one on the 30th. I do them every full moon, and we'll be working on all this relationship energy that I talked about. We'll be doing lots of clearing on this. I bring in all the sound energy, the singing bowls, we do some chanting, we do some mantra, and we really clear and work on these patterns. You walk away with a shift, or many, and then you also walk away with some on-the-ground inspired action plan to really embody the shift that you have made, because we need to do that embodiment piece. So I really hope that you come during that time. So there's a lot going on internally with this Venus retrograde and with this full moon. But again, we've got the light to see, and then we can make really good choices. So be compassionate with yourself. Be compassionate with others. Give yourself space and time to tune in. Go for a long walk in nature. Get outside, meditate, tune in, sit back, listen more than you speak, journal, whatever's coming up for you, give it some voice, but give it some voice with you and the divine before you give it some voice with someone else, unless you have someone who can really just hold space and really hear you. Okay, really important. And as we're communicating with others, let's make sure we do that from the heart. So swallow that head and speak from your heart. Really just drop into your heart. And some of the ways you can connect with this is like, what would love do in this situation? What would love hear? Whether you're hearing your own inner voice or you're listening to someone else. And what would love do? If I was really tuned into my heart, and my compassion for myself or for somebody else, what would be an appropriate response? And sometimes that's not having a response, verbally anyway. So hold space for yourself, hold space for others. You want to set really clear intentions. We're going to want to watch out for the people pleaser, the shadow side of Venus, for the overgiver, the shadow side of the moon, the great nurturer, the perfectionist, the shadow side of the great organizer. And Mercury's going to go retrograde. I'll be talking about that in the update. But Mercury is, of course, in Leo and moving pretty fast and fiery right now, which is fine. Good mental brilliance, but watch out for that overthinking and make sure that you breathe and speak from your heart. Think and breathe before you speak. Again, I'd love to have you join me for the Full Moon Healing Circle. If you're needing a healing session yourself, link is down below. I do personal healing sessions as well as my readings. If you want to know how this Venus retrograde and all the transits are hitting you, link to my readings are down below. You can get the 2023 forecast, which I talk about just all the transits like coming up for the next year for you, and also the Soul Blueprint reading is super appropriate. Free stuff is down below, as well as the Sacred Wealth Code quiz is down below, and all those readings and all that stuff. So much love to you. Stay tuned for the August update. I'll get that out to you real soon.